Okay. Thanks. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to MLB Live Before Lock on this lovely Wednesday, August 21st. Smash that like button as we get going. We're going to be talking some baseball for the next hour. I will be. You can follow me at Eric Lindquist, and Matt Belman will be as well at Fantasy Tips Matt over on X. Go give him a follow, why don't you? Because he is sharp at stuff. Was last night as bad for you as what it was for me?
Last night was not good. This afternoon was not good. So hopefully ready to get back at it tonight. Yeah, talked about how I liked Ober, who was looking very good until he wasn't, as you know, we didn't discuss, but we both messaged each other about. Yeah, that was disappointing. I can't even remember what else went wrong last night.
All the things went wrong. Nothing was right, except for, of course, Sean Geezy. Can we give Sean Geezy some love? The guy is an absolute wagon right now. The guy just goes ballistic. An Angels stack, an Angels 5-man. If you told me in the year of our Lord that 2024 that Anthony Rendon would be part of a winning MLB DFS lineup, I would have said, oh, that's weird. Anyway, that's all I would really say about it. But Sean Geezy, my dear God, man, you keep doing it. Keep it going, my guy.
Yeah, big shout to him. Massive night for him. I know he overtook Steve Buzzard, who sent a funny tweet out to him, but I know that Steve is not shy for winning his own tournament. So give Sean Geezy this one. Fun to see both them up top.
I would like them to be nice to me and let me win the $18 today. That would be really, really nice. And we're going to start breaking things down here in just a second. But of course, we're sponsored by Underdog. And of course, we have the greatest producer in all of the land, named Jordan Klein, on our program. Yeah, Jordan Klein, the best producer named Jordan Klein. I don't think it's really close either. I think the other Jordan Klein is like just a little bit underneath it, but it's fine. He's still the #1 Jordan Klein. So shout out him. Yeah, let's just start digging in here. 8-gamer, love the amount of games, love the opportunity we have before us to make a little money for the people in the YouTube chat. Anything that stands out to you, any weather, anything that you really want to touch on before we dive in?
I don't think so. Weather looks pretty good. A little bit of wind blowing into Chicago, but nothing really of substance. So I think we're pretty good in that regard, which is always fun.
And a little wind blowing out in a couple of spots. So we'll get into some of those. The Padres game is not on the main slate. I'm kind of sad that they didn't do the 3:40 Pacific, 6:40 Eastern time start. That would have been awesome to have that game, Twins, San Diego, added into the fray. But alas, we can't have nice things. So I suppose we'll just start digging into some pitchers. And it starts with Jack Flaherty on this slate. He is crazy, crazy popular. So I'm just going to do this. It's going to be the Joaquin Phoenix from Gladiator. Where are we on Jack Flaherty at 45% ownership? Okay, there we go.
That was my bad. I can't get away from him here. It's not even just about Flaherty himself and in the matchup he's in. It's about the other options. Like, he's expensive and he's highly owned. So anytime you get that combination of the most expensive pitcher and highest owned, there's always merit to get away from that. But for me, like, he's head and shoulders above every other pitcher on this slate.
Yep.
I'm just willing to get different elsewhere. Even if he gives up some runs here, which I think Seattle could hit a couple home runs. I mean, obviously it's a big ballpark upgrade for their offense. His strikeout upside is just, insane in this spot. And every time I want to believe in Seattle, at this point, you are who you are, and they are the #1 team in the league to strike out against righties. So yeah, I like Flaherty a ton here. I'm playing 4 lineups tonight. Probably play him in all of them. Just it's easy to get different elsewhere.
His line is 7.5 strikeouts. It's -115 and up absolutely everywhere except for Circa -110. Shut out the GOATs. Circa doing fantastic stuff for the industry. But Jack Flaherty, it is really hard to look at those strikeouts and not think that this is a really advantageous number to be just jamming Jack Flaherty in here at 10.5 even. I do like the over of this baseball game, but a lot of that will have to come from the Dodgers side of things. The wind's blowing out in LA. It's 80 degrees. It's just routinely hot out here. So it is what it is. You just look at a guy like Jack Flaherty at 10.5 and you got to feel like, I've got to make these concessions and those concessions. But I think it's worth it on today's slate. He feels like the surest thing that we got in a long time. And the top two percentage on him, 35%, massive number. Let's also not forget the number of times that he's still going to put up a very, very, very serviceable score, and you can get to stacks and just build around it anyway, even with two pitchers that may or may not pass him. So for me, I am very much in the camp of jamming Jack Flaherty here in 150. In my top 150, I'm only playing one lineup here right now today. I might play a couple more as we talk about it, kind of like, yesterday where it's like, hey, I have 20 lineups. And then I just kept adding more and more and more. I'm pretty busy. I just want to kick my feet up after work. But anyway, Jack Flaherty is 10-5, a phenomenal guy to be getting to, that's for sure. Enough about him, though, because now I think we can start talking about some potential tournament winners. And I'm going to open up to 8 and 9K range because we only have 2 in the 9K range. It's Logan Gilbert, 6.3% ownership, understandable going up against the Dodgers. Aaron Nola, sub 15% against Atlanta with Whit Merrifield batting second. What a time to be alive. But then the entire 8K range. I think there are a number of different guys that make sense. Ryan Pepiot's pulling the most ownership. Oakland, bats have gone a little bit cold. I'm wondering why. But we've got a couple of ways to get different. How do you like to assess this 8 and 9K range? And yeah, I knew you would like that one.
Loved it. I don't love this range. Like, there's some good pitchers here. Matter of fact, pretty much every pitcher in this range is what I would consider a good pitcher. Fried, Nola, Pepiot, all very good arms. I like the spot Pepiot's in the most, but he's pulling ownership, second highest owned on the slate. And he's, kind of pricey. I know that game and this series has been extremely low scoring. Not going to be overly shocked if that kind of changes course tonight, especially from the Tampa side. We'll get there. And then like Cortez is a good pitcher, especially at home. I don't love picking on Cleveland. Talion's okay. Good matchup at home against Detroit with, with pretty good pitching weather, I should say. But for me, like, all these guys look really similar. And for my SB2, and again, I'm going to play 4 lineups tonight. I'm spending down even more. There's a guy I like that's way cheaper than all these guys that I think maybe I don't project like exactly raw points as the guys above him, but he's much cheaper. So we'll get to him. As far as this range goes, if I had to rank them, I think Nola would probably be number 1. I think he's the best pitcher of the bunch. I don't love him on the road, hot in Atlanta, but this Atlanta lineup is just extremely watered down right now. So I think he's got to be your number 1. Then probably Pepiot, great matchup, great ballpark in Oakland. I don't love Fried though. Like, I'm a huge Fried fan in general, but he's not in great form. He's priced fairly. So like, he's not, expensive at all. He's cheap for what we normally know as Max Fried, but it's not a good spot. I mean, Philly's really good. They've seen a lot of him throughout his career and they've hit him really well. So I'm not like stacking Philly because of that, but makes it easy for me to not want to play Fried. All in all, if I were playing pitchers in this range, it'd be Nola, Pepiot, probably Cortez, then Fried, then Talion, but I'm not playing any of them.
Wow, bro. Wow. That's what Kobe White said when whoever it was that got drafted right behind him, North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it was fantastic. But anyway, we are like, I feel a little bit different. It gets a little squirrely sub 8K here. It gets really squirrely, actually. I mean, Mitch Spence, is that going to be the guy? We'll get into that one. I think that, it's not. Okay.
No.
Because Mitch Spence would be my guy sub 8K, but I'm not getting a ton of him at the moment. Again, I built out 150 playing just one lineup at the moment. He's not going to make it, but I look at a guy like Ryan Pepiot, and I think that the upside is definitely there against Oakland. And we're going to get, I'm assuming, just the normal iteration of their lineup where strikeouts should be abound, even though Oakland has improved with the bats over the last month and a half. The last couple of weeks, we are seeing spikes in strikeouts, spikes across the entire board, where Ryan Pepiot should be somewhat effective, I would think. And a 26.5% K rate in Oakland is pretty tough for me to not think that that's appropriately owned, or maybe want to get a little bit more than 23.5. In my 150, though, Max Fried, I am a little bit under on going up against Philadelphia. I am with you there. That one freaks me out quite a bit. And Nestor Cortez, I think he would probably be my number 3 in this range. But yeah, I feel pretty darn good about Ryan Pepiot there. Aaron Nola, pretty interested to hear him be your number 2 as well. He's a little further down my list, although again, that lineup for Atlanta on a day in, day out basis, it continues to surprise me how awful it is. I mean, Gio Urshela now batting 9th, acquired there by Atlanta. Whit Merrifield in the 2-hole. He didn't even cut it in Philadelphia. A little revenge in his heart potentially, but yeah, it's maybe a stranger range than I expected to hear from you, but yeah, the Ryan Pepio side of things I feel all right about. Let's continue on our merry way then, sub 8K, because now I want to just hear it. Who are you going to be rostering?
So the guy I thought I was going to be rostering like all day when I first opened the slate was going to be Kyle Gibson at 7,800 against Milwaukee. He's shown upside in numerous starts this season, but when you take a look under the hood, like his underlying numbers are not good at all. And I'm not afraid of Milwaukee, but they're not a team I'm actively looking to pick on. So I'm out on Gibson, but the guy I'm on that I think our tools are a little bit low on is Nick Martinez, 6,300. So again, price point is huge here. He's 6,300. He's one of the cheapest pitchers on the slate. 2 out of his last 3 starts have been very fantasy friendly, very good for fantasy. And his underlying numbers are pristine. I'm pulling them up right now. I know he pitched out of the bullpen for a bunch and his game logs might not show it, but his underlying numbers suggest that he's very good. I don't want to say like great, but a 3.0 expected, a 3.03 expected ERA. He doesn't walk anyone. He doesn't allow hard contact. Like, I don't love the spot against Toronto, but they got a ton of young hitters in their lineup. Carson Spears got lit up last night. They had to go to their bullpen earlier than they would have wanted. I would presume that if Martinez is pitching well, he has a very long leash here, and it's a price play thing. Again, I don't think he projects as well as the guys 2K more than him, but they're 2K more than him, and I think he projects well. So Martinez is my guy here.
Yeah, he's been really good for Cincinnati. Like, he's been a good functional pitcher, more than I expected him to be. I will say Tyler Stevenson, not the best defensive catcher there, but they're going to try to do a little bit of running, maybe Springer Varsho, but overall, Toronto's packing it in. Cincinnati seems to be packing it in. Nick Martinez, 20.1% K rate. That's about the only knock you can really make on him at the moment. Does give up some fly balls from time to time, but they're so weak hit, 30.4% hard hit, sub 5% barrel percentage, 4.3% there. I'm with you. I do think that there's at least a little something to mine out of there with Nick Martinez. It's just the strikeout upside isn't nearly as prominent as what I think it would be for a Mitch Spence going up against Tampa Bay. We've seen these projections for Tampa Bay start to just take off from a strikeout perspective. The Houston series sticks out in my mind. And Mitch Spence, only 18.8% K rate. So it's not like it's any drastically different than Nick Martinez here. So there's that, but much better ballpark to be pitching in. Home pitcher taking on Tampa Bay that strikes out more. It feels like I should be leaning on the side of a little bit more Mitch Spence, and that's kind of the guy that I'm trying to talk myself into, but pulling the trigger on for SP2. But no, I'm just a coward, the likes of which this world's never seen before, and rostering the 2 chalky pitchers in Flaherty and Max Fried and getting different elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again, Spence, I think on paper looks good, but I think there's just more offense in this game than we've seen in this series. I thought so last night, and it didn't work out, but I'm not on Spence here. I'd much rather play Martinez, and certainly a tougher spot, but I just think he's the better pitcher. And I expect Spence to be higher owned. I know that we're projecting the same, but people really like picking on Tampa right now.
How about Sean Geezy coming in, dropping a 50 spot? 50! Oh my God, you find me in the club, bottle full of money. Anyway, I can't remember the word. Sean Geezy, $50 for him, the knuckleball. He took down 50K yesterday. We all saw it, my friend. It was beautiful. Give him some love there in the chat. Very nice for everybody. Conscious Ty Kane podcast. Eddie Nally, you guys are awesome. Thank you for giving him the love as well. He deserves it. The Sean Geezy ride has been an incredible one to witness. Dude, so happy for you. So proud of you. He just says, got my first 50K win last night in the knuckleball on DK. Thanks to you fine folks. Thanks, guys. I saw that, Jordan Klein. Don't act like I can't see that. So proud of you, my guy. 50 large, 50 stacks of high society, as they would say on Rounders. These are beautiful things. People want to know, Kyle Gibson, any love there?
Yeah, I thought he was going to be a guy I liked a lot today, but he's just not. His underlying numbers aren't good. I'm not excited about picking on Milwaukee. I think that he's my 3rd favorite pitcher on the slate after Flaherty and Martinez, but I like Flaherty and Martinez significantly more. So I don't think I'm going to get to Gibson. I have no problem with it, but I like the other guys just more.
All righty. That's fair.
It's easy just on the note. Just on the note of like someone commented yesterday, our different strategies of playing of, I play few lineups, you usually play more. Like it's easier for me to plant my flag and say like I'm not playing Gibson because I'm only playing 3-4 lineups, you know?
Right. Yeah, that makes complete sense. And like for me today, I'm playing one, potentially going to add some more as we're going along here. Just want to make sure that I get all of the betting stuff done that I need to do and getting all of my stuff across the board done. And also Miguel Rojas just scratched. So that'll be interesting. I'm assuming we just get Nick Ahmed batting ninth there. So I don't think that'll change a whole hell of a lot here for the Dodgers. But a different guy in the 9 hole there for them as Miguel Rojas gets scratched against Logan Gilbert. Let's move ourselves over to FanDuel then, shall we? Where it's an interesting looking board to say the very least. Jack Flaherty pulling lots of ownership there as well, but top 1 percentage is just 14%, and he is 10-9. It's weird to say because obviously his ownership is drastically lower, and his price tag isn't like drastically higher, but I do like getting away from Flaherty a little bit more on FanDuel. I'm playing one lineup over there today. I would like you to guess which pitcher I am rostering on FanDuel.
I think you are rostering Nola. I mean, the leverage is there. He's the second top pitcher in the tools. If you're not rostering Flaherty, and I get that, he's even higher owned, percentage wise on FanDuel. Nola, who is it?
Mitch Spence, 6,400 for Mitch Spence today, down in the doldrums. Don't roster Kenta Maeda or Joey Cantillo. Yariel Rodriguez, I don't completely hate against Cincinnati for what it's worth at 4.3%, but 6,400 against Tampa gets you some places. And I think for FanDuel today, if we're not talking about stacks here yet, but one of the things that did stick out to me over on FanDuel is we are getting drastically lower ownership on the Dodgers or any team that isn't Kansas City and New York. And the Dodgers are not exactly cheap at this point in time. And I do think Philadelphia provides a ton of leverage against Max Fried over on FanDuel, and they're not cheap bats by any means. I think getting to some different expensive pieces, not necessarily Atlanta, but I think that there are a number of teams that aren't necessarily just Kansas City, New York, where, yeah, I really like that opportunity to get to more Dodgers. They were going to always be my 4-man or, potentially 3-man that I was going to put on FanDuel. And I like that combination of just getting to some late night stuff and kind of just packing my lineups in and wait for, I mean, it's not like a late slate NBA slate. It's not like that, but 6,400 just gets me places. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of how I feel about Martinez on DraftKings. And I'll say this, just going back to my Martinez point, and I totally agree on FanDuel. Spence is the guy. I love it when I like a pitcher that's really cheap on DraftKings and he's expensive as hell on FanDuel. Like that just makes me think that he's just way too cheap on DraftKings. Not saying that his price on FanDuel is correct, but it's somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean?
This is kind of weird. Miguel Rojas not in the lineup, but Kevin Kiermaier going to be batting ninth now. So he goes from not in this lineup to batting ninth. I'm trying to think of like who switched positions in that lineup. Smith, Muncy. So was Edmund going to play outfield today? And now he's going to play shortstop. Is that what it was? That has to be what it is.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's just cool to look at. It's nice to have that versatility, I suppose, to have Edmund be somebody who can do that. Moogie Betts can do it too. The Dodgers have always been that team that had, whether it's Kike Hernandez, whomever else, like they pride themselves in having multi-positional utility for guys. Chris Taylor as well throughout the years has played shortstop, outfield. Really cool stuff. But anyway, wanted to piece that together in my brain. Chris Williams coming in and gifting 10 because, Sean Geezy gives us $50 and then Chris Williams just comes in and does his normal, like, Mr. Deed stuff. Dude, you're just the absolute GOAT. Nice to give everybody some love there. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add here on FanDuel. I think it's pretty efficient outside of, Jack Flaherty. If I'm playing one lineup, I'm okay getting away from it, but there's no doubt at 7.5 for his strikeout prop and looking at everybody else, he's really hard to say no to today.
He's just, I mean, it's Seattle. Like, they're on the road. I would like this better if they were in Seattle, but again, it goes back to what I said. Even if you think Seattle gets to him a little bit, which is possible. I mean, their lineup isn't awful. It's not great. The reason they're so good to pick on for DFS purposes is because they strike out a lot. But they're talent-wise, they're not as bad as like the White Sox, the Rockies, those teams. But even if he gives up, like as long as he doesn't get shelled, which happens a couple times a year in spots like this. Like he's going to get enough Ks to make him at least serviceable. And most of the time tournaments aren't won with pitching. Like, yeah, you get the Gavin Stones that throw up 40 randomly, but usually that doesn't happen. So as long as Flaherty, like again, puts up 20 to 25, which is very likely here, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Comment God, welcome to Team Stokastic. Love seeing that here as well. The same way that I love to see everybody on Underdog here this time of year. Why is that? Well, it is best ball season. Here at Stokastic, we have Matt Kajeski. He's been in the lab grinding tape, friends. He knows all of the people you need on your best ball teams. And wouldn't you know it, it's free. The projections are free for you over on Stokastic, but you want to be utilizing those for underdog.com. Before we dive in to the lineup generator, and by the way, put your lineups there in the comment section. Let me just tell you a little bit about our friends at Underdog. 50% first deposit match that they are offering you up to $250. So $250 you put in, they're going to give you 125. You put in 200, they'll give you 100. Look at that. I can do math on the fly. I'm special like that. But anyway, Underdog Fantasy is the GOAT, the absolute GOAT of best ball. There's no doubt. If you are looking to fire up some best ball, which is your season-long MLB, your season-long NFL stuff, but you're doing it, setting it and forgetting it, drafting one time, and that is it. You get to do those in some massive tournaments where you can make some massive money. We have the Best Ball Mania. There's also a bunch of $5 tournaments. Puppy 3 is currently in effect. I'm firing that one here on a nightly basis. You'll want to be checking out Underdog, but it's not just that either. They have the pick'em that you know and love, and some of those scorchers, I brought it up the other day, are starting to look better relative to some of their counterparts at other places, if you know what I mean. Feel really good about their product over there at Underdog. Could not possibly vouch for them more. And if you haven't signed up there and it's available in your state, don't know why you aren't over there right now. Go to the link that Jordan Klein throws into the chat there or at the video description box below and check out our friends Underdog Fantasy, 50% first deposit match. Thank you so much to them for the sponsorship of our lovely MLB Live Before Lock program. I repeat, everybody, we've got the single lineup generator. We've been firing that up here every single day since its inception. Single lineup simulator is phenomenal. We're going to be building one lineup. In fact, I used it for small contests today. That's less than 1,000 lineup. We can also throw it in for the large contest, which I think most people are asking us about, by the way, Jordan Klein. So you might want to click on that large contest number there on the top of it. And then let's piece by piece put in some players for the people as they put their lineups into the chat. Yes, people, fire your lineups into chat so Jordan Klein can build those out for us. It would be awesome to project out a couple of those, see what the sim ROI is going to be for them. But what an amazing tool for this in NFL, Matt Belman. It is going to be absolutely insane.
Sure is. Excited for that. Excited for NFL. It's all going to be a ton of fun.
We got Stokastic Discord and the stream elements there as well. If you guys are looking to join here at Stokastic and jump in, ask us questions, I will give you answers. That is generally what I'm here to try to do. Quack, quack indeed. I feel like we haven't quacked in a while, but Bo Nix got the starting job there in Denver, so it seemed appropriate. But we got a couple of people throwing in lineups here. Yeah, we got a couple. Jordan Klein, nobody yet? Nobody wants their lineups assessed today. Oh, that might be why. That's chill. How about we do this, Jordan Klein? Let's build out my lineup today. How about that? Because we are going to be playing Jack Flaherty in that lineup. We also are going to be playing the other chalky guy in Ryan Pepio. But I want to talk through a little bit of my process on what I was doing today. And actually, at the top of your thing, go to the small contest, less than 1,000 lineups. I have this in a couple that are over 1,000 as well, but primarily wanted to play one lineup, play small field, and utilize this tool. Matt Belman, what is your favorite stack on today's slate for single entry?
I think there's a bunch of stacks that all look good.
Yes,
I'm expecting ownership to kind of draw towards Kansas City for the most part. So it's not going to be them. I'm going to run it back with Cincinnati. Game kind of caught away from them last night, but
sure did.
Ellie tripled in his last at bat. I love that going into the night. Yariel Rodriguez isn't very good. The Blue Jays bullpen isn't very good. I like Cincy a lot again. Again, ownership is like right in line with their top stack percentage, coming in a little bit over-owned, but I'm not worried about it on a slate like this. I think Cincy looks really good here.
I want it to be the Dodgers for single entry. I really, really do. But Logan Gilbert pulling absolutely no ownership, not a ton of leverage. I'll still have some some Dodger love coming up later as I have my betting side of things. But from a DFS perspective today, the first thing that I really noticed was, well, man, Angels are pulling a lot of ownership. Oh, my, Kansas City's pulling a lot of ownership, but it's not the greatest game environment there. I do like attacking Johnny Cueto. He's just absolutely terrible. If you have the money to go spend for it, awesome. But they're going to be very popular in large field. And it's not that I have a ton of money to go out and spend because I've kind of spread a little bit thin here, but I don't see any way that I don't like Philadelphia going up against Max Fried. I just got done picking on one Mr. Whit Merrifield, but that is a guy that on the other side of things for Atlanta, I can use as a one-off, and I can piece together some of these main pieces from the Philadelphia side of things. I think Bryce Harper left on left, don't completely hate it. Kyle Schwarber, it's very rare that you get on an 8-game slate an offense as potent as Philadelphia is. I mean, they have a low stack score, no doubt about it, but I think Max Fried's probably going to end up being the most popular pitcher that I don't have in my lineups. I think he probably ends up the second most popular pitcher here on the slate. And I really think he has struggled since coming back off the IL, giving up 5, 4, and 3 earned respectively in 3 straight against Miami. At Colorado, I can give him an exception. And then in San Francisco, those are 2 really good game environments. And he hasn't been remotely competent. In fact, 5, 3, and 3 walks to go with it. I think you can punt with a number of Philly guys. And if Aaron Nola ends up being as popular as what he is, I think that's the guy that I want to be rolling out in single entry. Are you with me?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Philly. You're talking about Philly here.
I was trying to
You're talking about Philly.
It. Yeah, Philly.
Yeah, so kind of goes back to what I said before. Like Fried's getting ownership, and Philly has hit him really well throughout his entire career, and he's a great pitcher. So like you don't usually see that. My problem with Philly is the same problem I have with the Dodgers. On this isn't a huge slate, but on slates like this size, someone who plays minimal lineups, I always struggle to stack against like good pitchers like this. You know what I mean? Not like just okay to good pitchers. Like Gilbert and Fried are top 30 pitchers in baseball. So I don't like them in the spots they're in, and I would rather use the offenses. And if I were multi-entering, Philly's a team I'd be maybe triple the field on. But playing 4 lineups, I'm not sure I'll get there. I like Philly over the Dodgers, but both of them look so similar to me. Like they're not getting a lot of love. They're both really good offenses, but they're both facing very good pitchers. So I think both of them look almost identical. And I think more than stacking them, I'd use pieces from both those teams.
Gotcha. Well, let's throw together my lineup here to some extent, and then we'll throw on some different punts just for the sake of like not giving you my entire lineup. But JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, going to the outfield here. You got Mr. Yeah, where do you go? Nick Castellanos and Weston Wilson. 4,100. So we're going to be thin to a certain extent here, but there are quite a few puns, whether it's Leo Jimenez, who I think we should click on at second base for this one, for this specific line of Jordan Klein. There you go. So a catcher there, as we're building through this, put in my dude, JT Realmuto, and then Bryce Harper. So Bryce Harper in the one hole there. Beautiful. All righty. So now you can see 2,500 left. Again, I'm doing a little bit of a different iteration of this. At third base, another guy for Toronto there in Barger going up against Cincy. And finally, 4,500 puts us in a range where you could go for the 5-3 in Toronto with George Springer. You could also put in Lane Thomas against Nestor Cortez a little bit there. But I like Alec Burleson there, batting second for St. Louis. So 5-2-1 here. Let's put that together here. And then let me see my sim ROI, Mr. Jordan Klein. Oh, I said Alec Burleson. Where did you do it different than me? I have Weston Wilson, Nick Castellanos, JT Realmuto. Let me take a look at it. Weston Wilson, you already have him down there. Yep. Trey Turner, Barger, Jimenez. Yep. There you go. What did you do different than me? Let me see. Boop, 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 boom. Oh, that's exactly what it was. Okay, so I had the two different lineups that I was deciding between. Go to Mitch Spence. Put Mitch Spence in at 6,500. You could also do 6,300 and go the Nick Martinez route, but then you'd have to get those Toronto guys out of there instead of Ryan Pepio at pitcher. I'm nervous because this isn't the exact iteration of it. And I'm like, oh, I probably should have ran this before the show to make sure that I am getting positive ROI. But Alec Burleson, he's at 4,400. He plays for St. Louis. So outfield, go to outfield there. There you go. 3.4% simulated ROI. Decent enough here. I feel okay with Mitch Spence being the guy. It's a little bit lower than what I was getting before, but I feel fan-frickin-tastic about getting some iteration of this with Philadelphia up against Max Fried. Again, Max Fried could definitely go out and torch the world. It would not surprise me in the slightest, but we've seen a little bit of struggle bus in some much better matchups than this of late. And it's not an incredible game environment there, but I love the leverage that I'm getting on potentially the second most popular play in single entry today, being one, Max Fried. He's generally very good, but here we are, friends. That's how you can utilize the single game simulator. I think it's going to be an awesome tool to be sharing on shows throughout MLB, throughout this MLB season and the NFL season. We've been doing it for quite a while here for the last couple of weeks, Greg and myself, and now Matt and myself being able to kick it here. But you're playing 3-4 lineups today. Who is the team that is going to make or break your night? Cincy?
It's got to be Cincy. Cincy or Detroit. I'm going to run it back. Not that, like, I'm not even stubborn like that. Like, I don't care that I played them last night. I just like the spots both of them are in here. Again, it's that classic, like, this is the classic MLB DFS, like, which way to go. Do you go with, like, the just not great offense against the mediocre pitching, like Cincy and Detroit? Or do you go for, like, the Dodgers and Phillies, teams that are actually really good that hit home runs against good pitching? You can't go wrong with either. Who knows how it's going to play out? You know what I mean? But I totally get why you'd want to be over on a team like Philly, just because what I said, teams like the Dodgers and Phillies, when they get there, they hit home runs.
Yes, they do. They hit the ball high, far, and gosh darn it, people like it. It's going to be very fun. It's going to be very fun. Any lower owned stacks for you over on DraftKings.com today? Because I've got a couple that tickle my fancy. I think there's a number of spots that we can really be looking for leverage. I obviously brought up Philly. They're, way down there, but 6.5% top stack percentage. That is the 6th highest we have on the slate, and yet their ownership share is the 3rd lowest. You put those two together, it's a nice bow, but we already covered them. Got a couple of others. Anybody that you like?
I like Detroit, who's coming in lower owned. It's another one of these slates where, like, everybody is kind of owned except for Oakland. And, like, even Oakland on an 8-game slate, if I were multi-entering, I wouldn't, like, cross them out. Pepio's good, but he's not like a bona fide ace or anything like that. Yeah, I think as far as low owned, I'll go Detroit there. I mean, they're one of the lower owned teams on the slate.
Detroit's just fine. Detroit, I mean, it's Detroit. We know that at this point in time. And Jameson Taillon, he's had a decent enough season by his standards. I don't know how we necessarily say that. It's like, good job at being okay at your job. But 300x WOBA, 36.2% hard hit. I think that might be how some people treat me too. But 19.1% K rate for him, a little bit down there in the doldrums. And we've seen Detroit start to piece some stuff together here. Riley Green. Is Riley Green in our lives today? Is Riley Green in our lives?
He is.
Yeah, I was going to say, just wanted to double check that because I just said it. I knew he's been back for 2 games, but they gave him a day off on the 19th, so wanted to pay attention to that. Or no, they just had an off day on the 19th. Anywho, that's what it was. But with him back in our lives, Kerry Carpenter, Parker Meadows, those are a lot of lefties going up against Jameson Taillon today. And that was one of the spots that I wanted to at least highlight a little bit here on the contrarian side of things. 171 expected ISO is a little bit higher than the 157 actual ISO we've had from Taillon. He's been much better against righties. Probably not looking at getting to a ton of Detroit Tigers righties because, well, all of them are bad now. Isn't that kind of wild how that works?
Kind of, but I'll tell you what, I like Spencer Torkelson a lot here. Really seeing the ball well since he got called back up. Had finally got it going right before he got called back up. Taillon doesn't strike anyone out really. Like, I like Torkelson here hitting 5th today. He's got big power. Like, the wind isn't bad enough for me to not like him here. And I like Detroit. So I'm with you. Like, I like Chase Young is probably not my favorite bat, but one of my favorite bats on the slate at 2,200. But don't sleep on Torkelson here.
Tickle my fancy. Yes, Charles Moran. I say funny things from time to time. Or so I think in my own mind. Let's do I mean, we are flying through this slate, may I say. Anything from like a one-off perspective over on DK that you want to highlight? Because there's a couple of those. I mean, I brought up Alec Burleson, St. Louis. I like the lefties going up against Myers. You could probably say the lefties against Kyle Gibson too, from Milwaukee. They're going to an interesting with Mr. Terang up there batting. Yeah, he's batting leadoff there. Number of different ways that I could stack up Milwaukee and probably find some contrarian pieces. Not a big Kyle Gibson fan. I think that's pretty noted, but any other teams or one-offs you might be looking at?
I got a one-off. Guy had really struggled since getting acquired by my Guardians, but crushes lefties and got a huge game, game leading double last night in the 13th. Lane Thomas, 4,400. He's going yard.
Lane Thomas. Wow, bro. Even Lane Thomas wasn't sure about that one.
Hey, that's what you got to do sometimes.
I love it. No, I love it. I mean, I'm just picking on a very, very small sample size. Everybody goes through ruts, and maybe he really liked it there in Washington. His apartment was very clean and homely, and now he's in Cleveland. I love Cleveland. I love you. I didn't mean anything by that. I love Cleveland. Cleveland, this one's for you.
Yeah, we got some nice parts over here.
And you have Jahanski, Noel. He's beautiful too. He hits
Christmas
very, very hard. Oh, the first Noel. Always fun. Always fun. You got EMAC in the chat too. Mike COG. Good to see him kicking it by here in these streets. He'll be here on the weekend for sure. The freaking weekend, baby. I'm not going to finish that because that guy got canceled. Let's jump over to FanDuel, shall we? We've got a couple of stacks on FanDuel. Brought it up a little bit earlier where the Dodgers really stood out to me considering Kansas City and New York are getting jammed. And I have no problem with Kansas City or New York, but I'm playing fewer lineups today. If I were playing 150, I can tell you one thing, New York would still be prioritized over Kansas City considering that game environment. And Joey Cantillo might as well be at the Cantilla drinking or so. What's your favorite stack on FanDuel for one lineup?
Yeah, we'll let that one go.
Yep.
I got nothing there. On FanDuel, my favorite stack is going to be Angels aren't getting a lot of love on FanDuel. So
no, they are not.
By the Angels, but I hate playing them against righties. And Lorenzen isn't good, but like, I don't know. I'll still say the Angels though, just because they look good.
Michael Lorenzen reverse splits, 220 expected ISO against righties, 127 expected ISO against lefties.
Yeah, he's not good. So I got no problem picking on him.
And righty power plays up. I love the Angels in that spot. The righties specifically. I think that's a great shout out for FanDuel. Kind of saved him for it.
Sweet.
This Cavadas dude. Nico Cavadas. It sounds like a spell that Voldemort would say.
Yeah, I mean, hitting 6 today. You just mentioned Lorenzen's reverse split. So like, I don't love him here. And he will get pinch hit for if they bring in a lefty. So he's playable. He's 2K with power, but like, I mean, against a guy with reverse splits, like, no thanks.
The Tourism Board of Cleveland puts out some great videos highlighting the city's many great things. That sounds like me when I do ad reads.
Yeah.
ATL Bird fan. Disgusting. Yeah, dude, Sean Geezy's out of control. 50 bucks again. Wanted to give him some love once again for just absolutely going completely banana rama on the world. That's for sure. It was beautiful, beautiful stuff to wake up to. FanDuel. Anything else that's really jumping out? I mean, St. Louis talked about that against Myers. Not the greatest game environment there, but I do feel like you got to just kind of pick and choose. Kansas City or New York? If you had to play one of the chalky stacks on FanDuel, do you have a priority between those two?
Yeah, I like New York here more. Specifically the top of their lineup, just massive power upside against Cantillo. Yeah, I think they both look similar. Ownership similar. Top stack tool would suggest Kansas City is a slightly better stack because they're cheaper. But I think both are totally fine. I slightly prefer the Yankees.
Yeah, I think the Yankees for sure between the two popular ones. Although my favorite play of the entire day, from a betting perspective, I'm happy to give somebody a freebie here. We got Vinny Pasquantino plus 135 across the, well, not across the industry. Highest number they're getting is plus 135 to get an RBI. Michael Massey in front of him, Bobby Witt Jr. in front of him, and there is no doubt in my mind that Johnny Cueto is terrible, horrible, no good, very bad at the pitching of the baseballs. And congratulations to him for his 4 good games at AAA Salt Lake, whatever that means. Good for him. Was getting lit up earlier last year. He's 38. And I don't think deception plays as well in the pitch clock era. I guess, let me get your perspective from like a no ball take. Like a lot of what Johnny Cueto's done in his career from watching as a baseball fan is like the big leg kick and stutter and waiting to throw to the plate. And now you got to just kind of go. It doesn't necessarily have the same cadence that it did once upon a time, or should I say a break in the cadence for the batter.
So you're right. And again, he's old now, so who knows how much that's going to play anyways. But I will say, I'm always like leery to stack against guys like this when the stacks are going to be really popular, because if nothing else, like Cueto knows how to pitch. There's a reason that he's still pitching and they called him up. Like, not saying that the Angels are in a good spot and they had a ton of other options, but like clearly he knows how to get by, even if it's with some smoke and mirrors. So I'm always hesitant with guys like this that have been really good in the past that have now worked their way back up into the majors. Not a guy like Patrick Corbin, who's getting paid a lot still, so that's why they keep running him out. But a guy who literally like had to grind his way back to the majors, and now they're giving him a shot. Like they must have seen something here. And again, Kansas City's chalky. So that is not a totally answer your question, because you were just talking about like the smoke and mirrors that Cueto presents. But I think all in all, like I'm not as high on the Royals here as I think the field is.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is to some extent. I'm high on the top 4. The top 4 are just fine here. I'm not in love with 5 through 9 here in this spot. I mean, we're going to see Adam Frazier pull some ownership, and Adam Frazier ain't that dude anymore. Hunter Renfroe, MJ Sweet Melendez, pinch hit concern later potentially in the game, considering Hampson isn't in this lineup and a couple of other pieces. It's fine. It's Johnny Cueto, man. Johnny Cueto is just dust at this point, and to dust he shall return. I don't have a whole heck of a lot else to add here in terms of like FanDuel stacks. Anything else that's really popping up to me there over on DK? Let's just kind of go through this one more time for the people who might have joined a little bit late. We'll get to the home runs then, of course, and we'll get ourselves the heck out of here. But Jack Flaherty clearing away our number 1 over on DK, I'm assuming, correct?
Yeah, pretty clearly the number 1.
Yeah, good chalk. Good chalk, we would call him. Not good chalk. Who is the favorite pitcher for you to avoid who's pulling more than 10% ownership?
Reed.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Max Fried's the guy that I'm kind of down on. It's weird because Max Fried is generally somebody that's been low owned in some of these spots this year, and I've just jammed. But this will not be one of them going up against Philadelphia. And then your favorite SP2 to be pairing Jack Flaherty with is
Nick Martinez.
Nick Martinez. I'm actually
you kind of like, the thing is with that, it's not just all about Nick Martinez himself. It's the fact that Flaherty's popular and he's really expensive.
Oh.
So I want an. What's up?
NBA Live Before Lock coming in hot. Jake Fraley scratched.
Wow, that's massive. So thank you very much.
Yep, number 7 hitter for the Cincinnati Reds, and obviously the team that we're talking about with over a 4 implied total. Jake Fraley no longer playing baseball. I don't know who his replacement's going to be, but I'm assuming they're going to be super, super low owned, and that
probably Will Benson.
Oh yeah, it's got to be Will Benson. That's a great tournament guy to get.
Totally agree.
I'm going to do the non-Hyde starters because, yeah, Hines isn't there. I mean, I know that they picked up Abed Rosario, too. They claimed him off waivers. I don't know if he's with the team, but Will Benson. Yeah, it's got to be Will Benson, you would think. That just square peg, square hole.
Yeah, I think so. But it could be Fairchild. I mean, it's not like they don't have guys, but Benson makes the most sense for me.
God, now I just kind of want to play whomever it is. That's kind of the way it is. But yeah, Jake Fraley scratched. Do not play him. That is for sure. Big leg kick. Now anyone in the chat. Sotex, yes. There we go. The Rockettes. That's funny. Oh, I'm looking through my lineups here. We're finishing up everything over here. I want to throw up Underdog one more time for you. 50% first deposit match up to $250. It is NFL. NFL is just about here. We're just about ready to rock, and I rock, and you can too. Over at Underdog, if you guys sign up at the link that Jordan Klein throws in there for you, it is a great opportunity to make yourselves some money. Over on the stack department here for DraftKings.com, your favorite team to be getting to, not named the Cincinnati Reds, and we just got that updated lineup, and it is Benson batting 8th. Look at that. I'm playing him in this lineup now, in one lineup.
So am I. I'm playing him. I'm playing Marte. That sucks for Noelvi Marte hitting 8th, now hitting 9th when someone gets scratched. Like, that's weak. But Espinal got the bump up. Espinal got the bump, and they got 2 third basemen. So, yeah, I mean, doesn't make me like their lineup any worse. It's a $3,100 outfielder instead of a $3,500. I'm totally with you. Benson's going to be real low owned, so I'm about it.
I'm very, very about that life. I'm about that life. I'm putting him in. I'm going to go. Yeah, I'll probably go. This is fun. This is kind of fun playing only one lineup, because normally I'm like, oh, it'll be okay. I have this and that, and looking through my ownership. And again, I really strongly suggest everybody play more lineups. But I know that my guy Matt Belman over there has smashed in the high stakes world, just absolutely grinding a couple lineups a day, and you can get some massive leverage on it. So I think there's a case to be made for getting good at playing both ways. Probably shouldn't repeat that in public, but we're going to get ourselves to the home run pick section. So y'all start throwing your home runs into chat. We're going to call this, it's not crazy early. It's going to be what, 4:05. So yeah, normally we get done like 3:55 for, a 4:10 slate. So this won't be that big of a deal whatsoever. You'll have 15 minutes to make sure your lineups do not have Jake Fraley in them, and you will be set and ready to rock. But throw your home run plays into chat, please. Matt Belman, tell us who amongst all of the players on today's slate is going to absolutely take the opposition for a ride.
I'm going to go to a guy I just shouted out. Give me Spencer Torkelson. The torque master himself. Again, if nothing else, he has power. I'm going off the board here because I don't lose anything if I get it wrong. I want to say Ellie, but I already went with Ellie. So no, I'm not going to do it again.
Lindy, I'm ready for NBA. Carlos Soto, you and me both, my friend. MLB, though, has treated me very, very well over the course of these bets that I've been firing up. So I'm going to continue on my merry way there. Vinny Pascantino from Sotex, you obviously know that I like that. I like the RBI. So I will take that in any capacity that I can get it. But want to give this guy a special shout out because he was somebody that Toast brought up on Kyle Kerm's show earlier today, and I did some digging into it. And I do think that it's a guy that, well, he's got a ton of power in the bat, taking on any lefty. It is one. It is the only. Weston Wilson. I think Weston Wilson is an interesting guy to get to in tournaments. How about a 413 expected ISO against left-handed pitching with a freaking 15.8 degree launch angle? I am shocked. He only has 2 homers, but then again, he's only had 24 plate appearances at the big league level, coming off of some really Herculean efforts, 341, 3 homers on the season. He is very sneaky naughty tonight. So Weston Wilson goes yard from the Phillies. That's my contrarian one for the people. We've got Brandon Lowe there for Chris Williams. We've got Vinny Pascantino. I said that from Sotex. Logan O'Hop. That's good stuff. Ross K. Soto 2 times. He does that often. He's very good. Bridge Lyons, Stanton, Mike Campbell, Bryce Harper, Big Kev 777, Ward, like that one a little bit. Aaron Hines, Paul Goldschmidt. All righty, that's another 7-hole hitter. I'll take Weston Wilson. Real Muto Bomb, your lips to God's ears. Castellanos, hopefully the world doesn't end. Kyle McCann, Reg Kell, 85, beautiful stuff. Will the Bill, Giancarlo, home run. And comment God, Ian Happ. Whoo, Daddy. Just listed those off really, really fast, and I won't ever call myself Daddy again. Matt Belman, another successful MLB Live Before Lock with you, with me in the books, and of course, our good friend Jordan Klein. Give him a like button no matter what. What was that? Oh, we got some super chats to answer. Good. That's exciting. Oh, we got to do that. Duh. That's great. Jacob Dunn, $2. Best 2 cheapo pitchers to use if you had to choose. I think it's pretty clear cut for Matt Belman. He had said Nick Martinez. And for me, I think it's pretty clear cut that I want to get to Mitch Spence. So those would be the 2. 6,300 and 6,500 respectively. And yeah, Mitch Spence, the pitcher I'm rolling with now over on FanDuel too. So Jeff Williams, $4.99. Play the 555 on DK. Woo, darling, let's go. Nola, Pepio. Oh, he threw that in. Run mine, please. Any thoughts, guys? Let's throw that in one more time. Did you throw that into the single lineup simulator for me? We want that less than 1,000. Less than 1,000 on the 555. Let's take a look. It's in our book. And then the payout is going to be, I believe it's 20% for the 555. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt Belman.
I think you are correct. Excuse me, I lost my voice.
That's okay. You're loved. I think the 555. Yeah, I'm pretty positive that it's 20%. So let's run that all together now. Birds of a feather now. We got Nola, Pepio, Fry, Avada Cadaverous, Torres, Volpe, Judge, Soto, and Barger. That'll be fun. Barger and Fries. We got another Barger in our lives. Look at that. Muncy home run. Yeah, him and Gavin Lux seem to just like really like doing that here lately.
I'm gonna call a second. I'm gonna call a second home run here.
Volpe, there you go.
No,
Are you gonna throw another one in?
Siri. Jose Siri went yard last night to win the Rays the game. He had been really struggling, and he gets hot and cold, so I could see him getting on a hot streak here.
Throw Barger into that third base spot, I think it is, and then yeah, I think you got to do that because then we've got Cavadas. Fry is up there already. I don't think it was in perfect order, was it? Is Volpe third base eligible? Is that what it is? Yeah, I didn't think he was. So I think Barger goes in that third base spot. So we put it a little bit out of order, but that is okay. Add him to third base. And then, yeah, you got Soto, Judge, and, well, shit, it would have to be Barger. It would have to be Barger. I don't know what we're missing. We're missing a player there in Jeff Williams' lineup, aren't we? Pepio, Nola, and then Fry, catcher, Cavadas first, Torres second, Volpe, not third base eligible, but shortstop eligible, then Judge, Soto, and Barger. We're missing a player from Jeff Williams. Missing a guy. Barger, oh, Peraza at third base. There you go. Thank you. Barger, throw him in at third and then throw Peraza in at third and throw Barger in the outfield.
Personally, I don't want any lineups with Peraza and Barger together, but that's just me.
I heard that they're taking MLB by storm, so
yeah,
you shut your mouth.
Watch them both go yard tonight.
There you go. All righty, 22.9% sim ROI. That's better than mine. I'm not going to steal it though. I absolutely love you. Guys, that does it for MLB Live Before Lock. Smash the like button for myself, for Matt Belman, who's just doing an awesome job this week. Enjoy our 3 shows. We will have 2 more before we get ourselves the heck up out of here as Greg is on vacation, kicking it there back home in Jersey. Can't go back to Jersey. I ain't going back. It's a good song by G Love, but nobody cares. Matt Belman, go follow him at Fantasy Tips. Matt, any final words for the people?
No, that's all I got, man.
It's really all I got too. And again, I don't know how to end shows anymore. It's just like something that I've lost to do. So I'm just going to go. Don't know what to do with my hands. Good luck.